defining you as a person. And that's what art is to me. Art for everybody, it should be. Or my idea is that bad art is not like that. Bad art doesn't define anybody. You know, it's just like a visual treatment or something. It's not really about someone's emotions or identity or the political world or So for me, I guess first of all, I would go forward with sort of a political agenda and deal with native defense. So that's my first target is to defend indigenous people through what I make. And then along with that comes some education about native culture and social justice issues. And then sort of down the road a bit there, maybe 2 or 3 segments later, I come to me. When there's time for me to work into the equation, my personality, my sexuality, my life. But that's not the first thing. The first thing is the people and the indigenous struggle going on globally against colonization and social justice. And that's what artists of color, for me, should be focusing on. And that's a big job. That's an all-day job. So eventually you get down to yourself about your own whimsy or love or emotion or tears or all those kind of things. But that's not the first thing. The market's the biggest culprit always. The market that rushes and that tries to make it into a business. And for Native people, the perception of Native art is closely tied to tourist dollars. So it's a location, it's a vacation, it's a happy time for the colonialists to have a break from their American lifestyle. And then they go and visit some place like Santa Fe or Sedona or somewhere, and they pick up something. They go to Seattle or Vancouver, there's some kind of, it's always an arts and leisure type of equation, and that's where you get a lot of bad work, because of course you can't deal with social justice if you try and entertain somebody. Well, you can, but it's very difficult. So that gets left out of the equation most of the time. Pedophilia, incest, alcoholism, amputees from diabetes, poverty, no water, no electricity, and all these things just are at such a high rate in Native America, and then people want to sponsor just like happy dances, and so it's just this bizarre twist, of reality that and Native artists, what I would say to Native artists, are complicit with that because they're making the work, the bad work at just dances. So, and they have all these people that are hurting and dying, but they don't report on that because no one buys that. So they report on the more joyous part of it. Anthropological museums that step into the fray and just want to report on tribal customs, and then they're bad at being having a voice that deals with social justice too, because they're trying to think of you like a deer or a bear or just any kind of animal that lives in North America. They're not thinking about the social issues that natives suffer from, which is this huge, giant problem across this nation. Is the worst. So museums that can deal with that reality are good, and often that's an art museum that can be more critical. In California, I did a big project with the Pomona Museum, College of Art, Pomona College Museum of Art, and there we had kind of the blend, where I had my contemporary printmaking interventions of public art about Native identity, but also I curated about 30 objects out of the permanent collection of Native artifacts, and I put that together as one expression. So actually I got into the belly of the beast and pulled out the artifacts, and rather than just showing those, I combined them with my own editorial about maybe collecting artifacts, like you hide them, steal them, people might die, or you got them off the battlefield, and they become this treasure now that's highly valued, and you wipe gloves to touch it, but you stole it from a battlefield where you killed people to have them. So there's all that kind of just all that kind of action going on, but I put it in the museum project. Well, I guess the probably the spiritual side of it in the land, but having a kinship with the land. Sounds kind of hokey, but truly, that if you're comfortable within the land, then you're going to learn about the spirit with people that are there, or the land itself will teach you and direct you toward the proper priorities. And that was my education in Western Oklahoma. Over 10 years living on the reservation and hunting and walking and painting and doing social justice interventions globally too. But I had a reason to actually express social issues because I came from a place, that suffered, but it was also informative. It wasn't like I lived in New York City and I had a topic about, global warming or, just these kind of ambient hot topics that people pick out of the blue. I try to deal with only where I've been, only where I go. I meet the people. If I do something in Australia, I go to Australia. I'll make a piece about Australia and Oklahoma or New York. If I go to Thailand and do something about 8 tribes on the southern border of China, I go to northern Thailand and meet the people and do things. So being present, I think that informs me, but the spirit comes forward to make the political stuff. And then the abstract even comes out of the trees that grow in Western Oklahoma. So that was my inspiration to make my paintings. Well, it's more complex, and I think if I have the whole gallery space or museum space to work with, I can communicate that, but it takes I need a lot of room, which like the piece the big work out in California in that museum, I think I kind of got that accomplished because I had 20 pieces on the campus outside about tribal identity in California. I had 30 objects from tribes all over America inside. I had 64 monoprints I had created, especially for the show. I had 4 paintings I finished. So I had all these things that kind of described what I felt and working in concert. So if I have like 1 piece, 2 pieces, it's pretty hard to glean that out of just that. Or just native person, yeah. You have to broaden, deepen what they believe, what they think they know about Native people, the history, the research, and then also the commonality. That's a big part of it. The commonality that everyone shares. So it's not about this, specialness of difference. It's also how we have a lot in common. And if you think about that, it's a very simple statement, but personal comfort, electricity, water, employment, medical care, things that everybody enjoys having. If everybody had that, well, yeah, it'd be a lot better parity in this country, and that's not the case. So we need to make everyone feel the same pain or the same joy. Have this major thing happening in London, so I'm working with the National Portrait Gallery in London, and my son and I are working together on an initiative, and the title is How Do We See Each Other, and it's actually based on a major exhibit of George Catlin called the American Indian Gallery, which the Smithsonian owns. They were donated a huge body of Catlin's work, and all those are portraits of basically Plains native tribes in the 1800s. And so London has mounted that show in the National Portrait Gallery, and they have a one-night kind of intervention. They hire an artist to come and take over the museum and create work with people that come to the evening, kind of a mass art project. They also hire a really wonderful DJ to spin music that I will curate, and so the whole night of music, I'm curating my son with another colleague, has a rap album, so we're going to put that into the curation. So his music will be playing along with other artists. And then we have, he'll be speaking, my son will be speaking on native health issues and talking about the experience that Catlin would have had meeting basically healthy Indians in the 1800s without sugar and alcohol and carbohydrates and all these things, so much fats. And then today we have, huge diabetes problems and hypertension, obesity, all these things are happening. So we're very different Indians. So in terms of a portrait of somebody, the ones he painted in the 1800s are very different people than the ones we are today. And so, but of course no one's talking about that. I don't know if it's a progression or degrading, but how things have changed. People think those tribes are still the way they were when they see these portraits in London. And so my son's going to talk about native health. And then I'll do a project with visiting patrons of the museum and ask them to write 3 words which might describe themselves, or might describe someone else, or describe me. And then I do that to make my monoprints. And so we're going to have about maybe 80 of my sketches projected on the wall, and maybe 100 of my prints, and all these things, of my videos playing, my films that I've made playing. And then they're going to actually create their own identity through their drawings. And then they're actually going to hire photo booths that create these big cards so that they can make their drawing on a piece of paper with 3 words, and then stand in the photo booth and then take a picture. It'll come out as an instant print, and then they'll get to take it home. But we're also going to capture that on the digital file and then project that too. So we're going to have all these identities. So we might come and see a native identity that Catlin made, but we're going to look at everyone's identity and how do we create each other's identities. And so that's my newest project in London.